Where in the Constitution does it say that the Secretary of State can override the First Amendment protections of free speech? Is there a footnote that I missed somewhere?
There's no constitutional right to a student visa.
But is there a constitutional right? Does it say somewhere that Marco Rubio gets to determine which speech is appropriate and revoke student visas based on what you think constitutes free speech?
There's a statute that says the Secretary of State gets to determine whether someone is a threat. We deny visas every day all over the world.
Do you think that the Immigration and Nationality Act trumps the Constitution of the United States, Mr. Secretary?
Well, Congress can always change the law if you want, but I'm telling you,
Mr.
in the meanwhile, I have the authority, I will continue to revoke the visas of these people that come here to tear this country apart.
Mr. Secretary. Let me reclaim my time because
we have a video here of Marco Rubio, who has a fiery exchange here about an Afrikaners refugee's anti-Semitic tweet, which is public and seen about student visas, etc. So we're going to get into this. If you are brand new to this channel, I'm the other Barack. I'm coming to you live and direct here from the Holy Land in Israel. If you have not already, it would mean the world if you could press that subscribe button and that bell icon so that you are always ready and notified for these videos. We show you here on this platform what mainstream media is not going to show you. So dial in and let's get it.
On March 21st, 2025, the State Department approved the revocation of a student visa for Rumeysa Öztürk, a Turkish citizen who is a graduate student at Tufts University, apparently simply for writing an op-ed. According to an internal State Department memo, you took this action under your discretionary authority to revoke visas, and soon after you revoked her visa, armed and masked plainclothes officers snatched Ms. Öztürk off the street and transported her to a prison in Louisiana. Mr. Secretary, do you really think that Ms. Öztürk's op-ed results in a foreign policy consequence for the United States?
I believe that case involves someone whose visa we never would have granted had we known ahead of time.
I'm not asking you that question. I'm asking you if you think an op-ed, but that's exactly, in fact, what happened. The State Department wrote a memo concluding that you did not have sufficient grounds to revoke Ms. Öztürk's visa. There was no evidence showing that she'd engaged in any activities were a threat to national security. And in fact, in May, a federal court ordered Ms. Öztürk's release from detention, noting that the sole basis for the government's detention appeared to be the fact that she co-authored this opinion piece in the Tufts newspaper in March of 2024. Where in the Constitution does it say that the Secretary of State can override the First Amendment protections of free speech? Is there a footnote that I missed somewhere?
There's no constitutional right to a student visa.
But is there a constitutional right? Does it say somewhere that Marco Rubio gets to determine which speech is appropriate and revoke student visas based on what you think constitutes free speech?
There's a statute that says the Secretary of State gets to determine whether someone is a threat. We deny visas every day all over the world.
Do you think that the Immigration and Nationality Act trumps the Constitution of the United States, Mr. Secretary?
Well, Congress can always change the law if you want, but I'm telling you,
Mr.
in the meanwhile, I
Secretary,
have the authority, I will continue to revoke the visas of these people that come here to tear this country apart.
Mr. Secretary. Let me reclaim my time because you are talking about revoking student visas based on what somebody says, and that means that you are trumping the legal supreme court, the supreme law of the land, which is the Constitution of the United States.
No one has a right to a student visa.
Mr. Rubio, why did the administration need to use masked, armed, unidentified agents to whisk somebody off the street and deny her counsel for almost 24 hours after her arrest?
Well, you'll have to ask the agencies that did that work. I'm not responsible for that. I'm responsible for revoking the visas of these people that come to tear this country apart.
Secretary Rubio, I'm talking about this particular case where you revoked the student visa of a Turkish citizen who was a graduate student who wrote an op-ed that you didn't like. And suddenly you allowed for masked men to whisk her off the street. And you have multiple jobs, apparently. You're the national security advisor as well. So don't tell me it's not your job who snatches her off the street.
We don't do the snatching, but I can tell you we do the visa revocations.
Let me ask you about the national security consequences of people, masked men on the street, snatching people off the streets. If these are legitimate law enforcement agents carrying out proper arrests, why are they hiding their identities?
Because then radical crazies will try to hurt them.
So you think that U.S. agents who have almost always gone without face coverings, even when they're arresting some of the country's most dangerous criminals, suddenly have so much to fear from a graduate student who wrote an op-ed that they need to be masked?
Again,
is that
law
accurate?
student was a guest in the United States on a student visa. No one's entitled to a student visa.
So you revoked her
visas every
student
day,
visa
and we will revoke and
based
continue
on
to
an
revoke
op-ed,
visas.
which trumps the supreme law of the land, which is the Constitution.
Someone's coming up here to stir up problems on our campus. We're going to revoke their visa.
She didn't do any of that. She wrote an op-ed.
Well,
she
that's
wrote
what
an
you
op-ed,
claim.
and I'm talking to you about her particular
lawyer's
case.
claims and your
You
claims. Those are not the facts.
You reclaiming my time. You revoked her student visa because she
proudly.
wrote an op-ed.
And
Would
we'll
you
do more.
revoke?
We're gonna do more of
I
them.
have another question for you. Would you revoke the visa of someone in the United States who published claims that, quote, Jews are an untrustworthy and dangerous group? Yes or no?
We will revoke the visa of anyone who's in this country as a guest
Are
who's
you
here to stir up
going to
trouble.
revoke the visa of somebody who made
I
that?
mean, the case,
that,
I'll look at it.
that
I'm
statement?
looking to get crazy people
actually,
out of our
it's not
country.
just about revoking.
Forward
You
to
actually,
revoking the
Secretary
visas of any
Rubio,
lunatics you
excuse
can
me,
identify.
reclaiming my time. Can you explain to me why the Trump administration granted refugee status to Charles Kleinhaus, the white Afrikaner who tweeted that exact statement that I just said? There's the case.
That's not a visa.
You granted that person
That's
to
a
enter
totally
the United
different process.
States.
That's someone that applied here through a totally different process.
Secretary Rubio,
student visas are a privilege.
Secretary
we deny
Rubio,
them all the time, and
you
we'll revoke
revoked
them.
a visa based on an op-ed, and then you allowed for
Gentlelady's
masked
time has
men
expired.
to
That's your
snatch
claim. That's
somebody off
accurate. That's
the
your claim.
street.
Your time's
That's your claim.
expired.
That's your
I pulled up the YouTube clip here. I just want to read some of these comments. You have someone here, Robert Bernardo Kim, says, I'm a South Korean. Just from the point of general rule, Marco Rubio is right. A student visa is not a right. Reagan, someone else said, she needs to think about who she is defending. Another person says, a visa is a privilege. Another person says, foreign students come here to study. Don't make a mess. Another person says, the enemy inside is much more complex and dangerous than the enemy outside. How do we expect, societies, America, expect to fix internal issues? It's like kind of like the work that you would do with, plant medicine or working on yourself, understanding how you project yourself out to the world. If you have all of these people your whole life telling you certain things, you build an ego, and your ego might be the thing that you project out, which is the thing that you think your person is versus operating from your soul, which is where we need to be operating. And in order to rewire that, you have to work inward before you project yourself outward. America needs to do the same thing. America needs to look at what is the problem internally in America. Look at the amount of domestic terrorist acts happening increasingly by staggering percentages and numbers within America, regularly, on a regular basis, in the name of religion, radical religion, for example. Now, the thing about this too is, besides the tweet from this Afrikaans student, is watching this damn well that if this had to do with any other culture or ethnicity, the fact that it was an anti-Semitic tweet is what kind of like justifies for people here to have this dialogue. Good Lord, if it was about a black student. Good Lord, if it was about a Muslim student. Oh my God. We would be having such a different conversation. And this is kind of like where you're going to cause more Jewish people to be like, this isn't like a me thing. You guys cause it to make it feel like it's a me thing because you create this double standard against Jewish people. A lot of the times it feels like, like there's a lot of like anti-Semitism that is dismissed. I don't see why that's okay. I don't know. Let me know what you guys think in the comments section. Here's a last minute note from me. Here are 4 ways you can help us grow if you believe in our mission. On Buy Me a Coffee and PayPal, you can directly contribute to helping this message grow and reach more people across the world. If you want to join the inner circle, join our Patreon with different tiers, and of course, our Discord community, which is free with people from all across the world. The links to every single one are in the description. And last but not least, to the other Barak community, I love you. Ani ohev otchem. I'll see you guys next time.